We're going to begin some of our seated poses again. These are going to focus on our abdominals and our core. So we're going to start with our plank. There's a modified version and a full version. So we want our fingers spread wide and your knees on the mat. You're going to lower your hips slightly here and hold. Now if this is easy for you, then you're going to curl your toes under, lift your hips, and come into a plank. My hips are low, my spine is long, and I'm pressing my heels towards the back of the room. The belly's pulled in. So modified version is knees down, full version is knees up. And press away the entire time, away from the mat. And hold this as many breaths as possible. And then you can come down to your knees, and in between our planks, you can come to your child's pose, hips towards heels, stretching the arms long, taking a breath, kind of finding your breath again before your next sequence. To move on, you're going to come into your plank position, and on an inhale, you're going to bring that right knee to the right elbow and hold for a breath. And on your exhale, bring that leg back. And then alternate legs. Inhaling, left knee to left elbow. Coming back. And continue to do that 5 times on each side with your breath. And then coming back to your child's pose. When you're finished with that sequence, we're going to come into an upward facing dog. So we're going to allow our hips and our belly to fall towards the mat. The elbows are extended and we're rolling the shoulders back. And in this modified version, my knees are on the mat, my toes are on the mat, and I'm enjoying a nice low back bend. If you want more, you can lift the thighs off the mat and let that belly hang down. And just press away from the mat. And then when you're finished, coming into your child's pose. And then coming back up to our plank one more time. So curling those toes, pressing those heels back, finding that nice long plank. Holding here. From plank, you can come to your downward facing dog. And you can alternate between downward facing dog and your right knee forward to your elbow, coming into your plank, and then pressing back. So it gives you a nice stretch in between doing your elbows to knees. Now if ever your wrists become sore, this can all be done on your forearms. You can interlace your hands and do your elbow to the upper arm. You can also come to downward facing dog on your forearms. And just press away like that. Now we'll come into our boat. So swing your legs around and come to our seated mountain. So we're sitting up, and take the hands in the creases of the knees. We want to make sure there's no rounding in that lower back. We want the spine long again. Shoulders pulled back. And on an inhale, you're going to come back on your sits bones and lift your feet. Now they might be down here. The shins might be parallel with the floor, or you might be able to straighten the legs. Your breath will tell you where you can go comfortably. You can keep the hands behind the knees, or you can extend the arms into your boat. You want to hold this 5 breaths or until those legs kind of start to shake. That will happen. Come back down, wrap your arms around, tuck your chin, and press your spine towards the back of your room. You want to do this boat sequence about 5 times, holding it until you can't hold it any longer. On your last sequence, you take your arms down and try to go to a canoe. So you're going to slowly lower down until your shoulders and your feet are just hovering off the mat. That whole front side of the body's engaged and you're gazing at your toes. Hold that for as many breaths as you can and then just relax on your mat. And we'll take our feet flat on the floor and do a bridge sequence. So you're going to take your fingertips towards your feet, reaching your hands alongside your body, and then lifting up those hips and that belly button towards the sky, rolling onto those shoulder blades. And you notice my knees don't come out, they're nice and close together. Hips are lifted, and continue to breathe here. If this is easy for you, you can try and interlace those hands underneath and squeeze those shoulders together. It helps lift those hips a little higher. Really press the feet into the floor to lift the hips. And after about 5 to 8 breaths, slowly roll the spine down on the mat. Let the lower back rest gently on the mat. You can do that sequence as many times as is comfortable. It helps stretch that lower back, helps firm the glutes, has a lot of very good benefits. Now we'll take that right knee into the chest, give it a nice hug, and even rotate that knee into circles. And this is loosening up that hip joint. Gets very tight from a sitting, and it doesn't often get to move around kind of free from gravity weight pushing on it. So move that knee around a little bit. Then bring your knee to center. Take your right arm out, palm down, and you're going to cross that right knee across the body. This is a gentle twist. We want to draw this right shoulder down to the mat as much as possible. This brings very good separation from your upper body and your lower body, from our forward facing when we're sitting in our chairs or cars. We don't often get to twist the spine in these directions. So hold this for at least 5 breaths, for as many breaths as you like is comfortable for you. And gently bring that knee back in and stretch it out long. And on the other side, left knee in. And make your circles here. You might hear some popping, some crackling. It's just fine. There's nothing wrong. It's really air in your joints. It means you're alive. Bring your left arm out, palm down, and cross that left knee across the body. And this left shoulder is going to want to pop up. Just draw it down as much as possible. It doesn't matter if your knee reaches the floor or not. Take some deep breaths. Relax the upper body on the mat. And after you've held it for your breaths, come back to center. Stretch that leg out long. We're going to bring the soles of the feet together close to the body. Let the knees open up. Draw the arms up overhead and bend the elbows and rest the shoulder blades on the mat. I want you to take 5 to 10 breaths here. This is a relaxing pose. We're just letting gravity open the hips slightly. And letting that breath calm our nervous system. That's some of the benefits of yoga, is allowing that breath to tell our body that it's calming, de-stressing, and letting go. And after you've taken your breaths there, you can practice your Shavasana, or final resting pose. And you're going to let your legs go long on the mat. Let your feet fall open. Arms are away from the body. Palms are up. And the fingers are resting gently. You're going to close your eyes and no longer control your breath. So you just want to observe the rise and fall of your belly. And the goal here is not to sleep. It's actually to create space between your thoughts. Try and clear out those conversations we have with ourselves And as thoughts come into your mind, you just want to kind of move on, not becoming attached to them, letting them go. These few moments of peace and quiet can really restore and refresh the body. So don't rush through this. This is probably the most important pose of all. You can stay here as long as you like, but at least for 3 minutes. And then when you're finished with your Shavasana and your resting pose, just gently press yourself up to seated. Take a moment and close your eyes and just notice how your body feels. You've stretched almost every muscle in the body. You've opened up your breath, your lung capacity. So you should feel refreshed, restored, and renewed. Namaste.